Well, it's as if, and it's the as if that counts. We're linked to each other in consciousness. More probably you would think to those that we love and care for we're always thinking of them. But we're some prolonged period of time thinking of people that are much concerned to us, problematic. And we have them in our consciousness too, and are relating accordingly. And, well, unless we're extremely well trained, badly. Of course, when you lose someone that you love, it's, well, I don't want to overstate it, but it is devastating if you're not careful. For you have to adjust to a different level of consciousness. Or at least you may feel you have to. You perhaps can't hold them in the old regard because perhaps they've changed in their view towards you and cut off. Perhaps they've actually died, and in which case you can keep them in your old view of them and possibly updated with your current thoughts about them indefinitely. And they are part of your consciousness, your awareness. And perhaps in spirit they are with you, as some of the near-death people attest, give witness to. Perhaps they're not. But you are living according to what you're conscious of. And if you're holding a consciousness of them, then that's who you're relating to. Isn't that strange? And many people, for instance, chat to their husband who died some years back, and they still feel he's with them. And occasionally you get the astonishing report where, they've actually seen him or heard him speak. And you could say, these are all, hello sweetheart. You could say these are all tricks of the mind. But it's not so much a trick of the mind, it's what the mind is experiencing. This is not the best place to do a recording by the lake. It's very busy. It's only a Thursday morning at 9:45. And I've never seen so many dog walkers and people walking around the lake. It's quite a pleasant day. In particular, it's cloudy. Not too cloudy, but enough to keep off the severe sunshine. But to where I was, everything is handled by the mind. If the mind is doing something, that is what it's doing. I mean, whether God exists or not, if I'm thinking of God, my God, in a certain way, that's what I'm relating to. This is, in a sense, an objective fact. I mean, I can only tell you I'm thinking of him, and you'll assume it's some sort of sketchy notion of God as you presuppose God might be for me. And I'm relating to him in that way. But I am relating to him, and it's affecting my life. My anticipation of him as a person, character, values, and me. The Jesus story has it that, a Jesus view is very much that God is Dad, Abba, Father, and a loving Dad at that. One that answers prayers and all the rest of it, of course, because he prays. There's no point in praying in the story unless he expects it to be real. What is real is that in the story, is thinking of relating to God in this way, and in the story he's saying these words. Whether it's a historic fact, whether God exists, whether Jesus ever existed or not, is not the point. Okay, I broke off there to have a chat to someone. She's walking for handicapped people around the lake, And I was able to give her my card because it's the third time I've seen her. I thought, why haven't you given her a card, Marcia? And she's all friendly. That's lovely. I mean, care worker hardly needs my advice on how to be loving and kind, but still. Bless her. And the value of the story is in the eating. The proof of the pudding's in the eating, isn't it? If you treat God as Dad, your Dad who cares for all and loves you, loves all, has no favourites, and assuming he will guide you where your understanding of him is not appropriate. And you find out either what you see or read or hear, or in the last resort, what you experience in life. We don't want to learn the hard way, do we? So we try to be as receptive as we can, but we can only be receptive from our present value point of view. You can only love your God. You can only love the personification of what you at present value, because that is what you value by definition. How can you love what you don't value? That's a nonsense. And we've found, probably by simple practice, that loving is its own reward, isn't it? When you're in love with someone, the world's just singing to you. Everything is just wonderful. And whilst your good expectations are still met, you continue in this grace and joy and happiness. So yes, in a simple way, love is the answer, and to love God, well, the possibility of him existing makes it worthwhile, because the possibility gives an expected value. Perhaps you might think a low probability, but an extremely high value in loving such someone who's absolutely just right in your understanding. So in this sense is rational, I claim, to be devoted to God, put God first. And because, well, assuming you understand that your God loves all life, then you will treat all life appropriately. Do you see? You may be assuming that he doesn't love all life, which is certainly the case for the Judaic type religions of Christianity and Islam. But in some sense you're covered in that you're loving God, your God, and assume that his values, although you may not know them yet, but assume they are the same as your own, are in some sense right. And if they're different to your own, and your own are probably not entirely right at present, being a child, you understand, well, you'll put that right in the fullness of time. So it's a sound rationality, but a sound rationality doesn't necessarily appeal to us. We have all sorts of likes and dislikes and habits that are contrary to perhaps our fundamental values. I hold it that hopefully nearly everyone has a basic set of values that are very similar. They don't like pain and suffering. Most of them don't wish to die. They love peace, they love hope, they love joy, they love love. Broadly speaking, therefore, we have the same values, we have the same needs, in fact, especially human beings to each other. Perhaps it's not so clear when we talk of other forms of life, like the mosquito, or how relating to the rat. In other words, we may not have a comprehensive grasp of how best we can relate to all life, but in some sense we feel the onus of direction is on God because we're children and He's so much more, almost infinitely perhaps, capable than us. More comprehensive. Lovely. Who would not love a lovely God from their point of view? Since the gain of a perfect God is infinite, the least probability of Him existing is also infinite. You know, probability times gives you the expected value. So it's rational to put God first. And if you think about it, the implications are that therefore you live appropriately if you are to be living in harmony as a consequence. Purposing a harmony. Not necessarily achieving it, of course, because, in the immediate present, because we're still kids. But kids are going to become adults. Can you imagine? You're going to be like your God, the one you're imagining at present. It'll be adjusted a bit with experience, but, in some sense, unique, still your view of your God, but in harmony with Him and all that He loves. And perhaps you're assuming He loves all life. Wow. That's just infinite, isn't it? Thank you, Heavenly Dad.